Welcome all. In previous video, we have studied about the introduction of microcontroller and processor. Later on, the embedded system, the introduction to Arduino and the Arduino IDE programming concept. So in this video, we'll study about the variables, functions, and the conditional statements in IDE, Arduino integrated development environment. That is Arduino IDE. So let us talk about first variables. So what are variables? Variables is a place to store a piece of data. It has a name, the value, and a type. There are two types of variables, global variable and the local variables. The local variables are known and can be accessed only in the function where they are declared, whereas the global variables can be accessed by the entire program. So whenever in the program we have to initialize a piece of data, so we can use these variables. So often the global variables are most popular in Arduino programming because the local variables, it is defined at that particular instant and that will be used and accessed in that instant only. But the global variables can be accessed throughout the program. The syntax for the defining the global variable is what the int pin equal to 30. So what does this mean? Here the variable name is pin. So this is the variable. The value of this variable is 13 and the type of this variable is integer. So the complete syntax will be int p and that is 13. P number 13 will be an integer and the variable name will be the pin. So the later on in the program, you can simply refer to this variable by its name, at which point its value will be looked up and used. For example, in the later program, we have to use this variable name, so we can simply use this command pin mode, the pin and the output. So in this command, by using this command, we can set this particular pin number to output. It will set this pin as output. And what is this pin? This is the variable name, and we have defined initially this variable pin as a 13. So 13 will automatically look it up here and it will be used. So this command becomes pin mode 13 as output. So this will set the pin number 13 as an output pin. So what are the advantages for defining this variable? In case that you only need to specify the actual number of pin once, but you can use it lot of times. So in the later on program, you can use simply this pin variable name, and this will use the we have defined initial of this program. So we can simply change, if we want to change the pin instead of 13, so it will change in whole program. So these are called variables and their use. Now there are the different types of variable and their sizes. For different cases, we can use these different variables. So for example, unsigned integer, the unsigned character, integer, unsigned, the integer, unsigned short, unsigned long, unsigned long, float or double. These are some of the 8-bit, 16-bit, 24-bit, 32 bits and their respective data range. For example, the unsigned character, which is a 8-bit, and the data range is 0 to 255, and it is no need to define the sign. By default it is a character 8-bit, so with the sign minus 128 to plus 127. So these are all we can define in the particular instant. For example, if you want to count a number, the number which is a unsigned, so we can define unsigned character, that particular number count value. For example, if we have to delay some, we have to add some delay in the program, so we can use any of these. If our delay is in between that particular range, so we can use it, or the delay is more, so we can use any of these uh, variables. Uh, for example, one I have explained here, unsigned character. It is an 8-bit data type that takes the value in the range of 0 to 255. So unsigned, it is a 8-bit and the range is 0 to 255. It is widely used in applications like setting a counter value where signed data is not required. So I just said that it is used for counting the values, right? So there is no need to sign data, so we can simply use unsigned character. C compiler uses signed character by default. So whenever there is a signed character, we don't need to define it. It will by default use the signed character. If you want to use unsigned character, then the keyword unsigned must be placed in front of the character. Like uh, the examples are given here. Syntax: unsigned character I, that will be equal to 4. This is an example. We'll set the unsigned character, value will be 4, unsigned integer j, or an integer count, which will count the number. The next thing is the function. So basically the function is what? Segmenting a code into function allows a programmer to create a modular piece of code that perform a defined task and then return to the area of code from which the function was called. So function is where we can define in the program, which is also a short program, and that will be useful in the whole program. Whenever in the later program it has to execute. A typical case for creating a function is when one needs to perform the same action multiple times in a program, right? So it will be stored in the same program, and that will be used whenever it needed. Function help the programmer stay organized. Often this helps to conceptualize the program. This also reduces the chances for error and modification. If the code needs to be changed, so we can simply change the function, and that will reduce the chances of error because it is defined at one particular instant, and if we change that, so that will change in the whole program, so that will not alter the remaining program. The functions make the whole sketch smaller and more compact because the section of code are reused many times. So the function often needed in the program where we have to call the particular part of the program many times, so that we have to define with the help of the function instruction. The format for declaring the function is the function name, the parameters that we have to define in case of the function name, and in the curly bracket we have to define the declaration and statement. So this will be the little program that we have to execute many times in the whole program. The function can also call another program. For configuring a function, we need to configure the function prototype, function call, and the function body. So what basically the function prototype is nothing but a list of functions along with its format. So it provides the name of the functions variable needed in the function, so that we have to define in function prototype. A function called consists of variables. The function called consists of the statement that needed inside a program that is executing the functions. and the function body, which is a main program that will be included in the function body. Now for example, here the one program is given, and in that program how we can define the function in that particular program. So this is what the void setup serial begin 96. This command often needed when we want to communicate with respect to computer or any other devices which connected to TX or RX pin. Now in void loop, it is defined the integer I, j and k, where k is multiplied function ij, so there will be a multiplication and the k will be printed with the help of serial print and the delay of 0.5 second. So this can be defined with the help of this integer multiply function, integer x and y, integer result, and the multiplication and the return result. So this function is inserted outside of the loop or any other function. So that will be defined or inserted outside of the loop, the while loop, or the any other function which is defined the outside of that particular function. So we can define it. Okay, so the in next part of this lecture we'll study about the conditional statement. Okay, thank you for watching it. Thank you.